Call to order the City Commission meeting for August 3rd, 2021. I'm going to, I think we have Commissioner Sobola calling in, so make sure she's on.
There is currently one person in the conference.
Commissioner Sobola,
Hello,
Hello.
Commissioner Decker
you're on. So,
and everyone else.
roll call, all commissioners present. First item up is the order of business. Mr. Winningham, are there any changes to the order of business?
Mr. President, Commissioners, there's no changes to the order of business this evening.
Any questions on the order of business? Now I look for a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the order of business as presented by Commissioner Frederick, second by Commissioner Oderman. Any further discussion? All in favor of the order of business as presented, state aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item up is the consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda the commission would like to discuss? Now I look for a motion on the consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Oderman,
Second.
second by Commissioner Frederick. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Oderman,
Aye.
Mr. Frederick,
Aye.
Ms. Walla,
Aye.
Mrs. Soboluk.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. First item up, we have a Youth Commission resolution, Mr. Winningham.
Mr. President and Commissioners, as discussed in previous meetings, we are offering a resolution to be voted on to pass to create the City of Dickinson, or establishing the rules for the Youth Commission. I'll just read a few of the whereas, just for the public record. It would be whereas it is recognized that a youth perspective on issues which pertain to the youth in the community is an important part of decision-making in the city. And whereas there are value in increasing communication between adults and youth, and whereas there is value in having a mechanism for youth to have a voice in city affairs and issues relating to youth. And whereas the City Commission has found and determined that the purpose of the Youth Commission is to foster and encourage civic and neighborhood pride and a sense of identity through the knowledge, understanding, and an increased involvement of the city's youth in the city's presence and future municipal affairs. So before you this evening is the resolution to establish the Youth Commission with a few recommendations for how we will participate or proceed forward with the Youth Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Winningham. Any questions on the Youth Commission resolution?
Mr. Winningham, for those in the audience or at home, can you kind of just give the quick highlights that people should know about this commission?
Thank you, Commissioner Oderman. A few highlights would be that we are looking for participation from 15 to 18. That would be the sophomore time frame in school. That would be 10 youth creating a membership for a city commission that would then sit on multiple committees or boards as designated or voted on by that commission and approved by the city commission. That would allow that voice in many of the decisions that are made to at least have youth representation. We would schedule a meeting monthly. We would go through a process where there'd be a membership application. The city has created a website that hasn't yet flown, but there's a website that has a online application. I think it'll be one of the first online forms that we have for the city, but that will go out to the youth. It's already created upon approval. We will then roll that out. We will then have a meeting if the commission chooses to approve this resolution, a meeting with various stakeholders within the community, which would be the public schools, the private schools, and those that are willing to assist in creating this and getting the word out for a youth commission. Once that's done, we will then go forward and have our first meeting. And in that first meeting, it would be essential for the youth to determine what that next step would be for that commission. Obviously with some advisement, but I think it would be best for the youth to give us that word instead of us creating everything out of a whole cloth. We would just like to listen for a while and then start this process of having a youth commission.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a key piece of this, is making sure that they feel like they have agency in this, and that it's not just us telling them how they're going to run their own commission. I don't think we'd want anybody coming in and telling us, other than the voters, but when you set up a youth commission like this, it's very important that they feel like they have independent thought, and that they can voice their opinions without concern of whether or not, they're going to get scolded by city employees or the commissioners. So yeah, I applaud the structure that you're setting up here. Nice job.
The goal is to solve all the problems before they come to the city commission.
And they've got all the answers, so we should listen to them.
Are there any other comments or questions? This should be Resolution 24-2021. I'd look for a motion on Resolution 24-2021.
Mr. President, I'll move to approve Resolution 24-2021.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Walla, second by Commissioner Oderman. Any further questions, discussion?
Mr. President? I do have one. So after we pass this, and when we go to the schools, public and private, how is that planned out? I should say, who's all going to meet? Are you going to need some of us to kind of present?
So the first meeting with the stakeholders will get the work through who the initial volunteers may be and who we can seek assistance from. We've had a few working meetings to discuss who could potentially help. And so that first meeting that we have, because we're looking to roll this out completely by mid-September to coincide with the school year, September to June. And so that first meeting will then define who is likely to volunteer to come forward to assist on the adult side. And we're looking forward to having a minimum of 2 commissioners that could sit in a meeting once a month with the youth also. Other cities do it differently. I think that we have a really good working model of how we assist the community with other committees. And so it makes sense to have 2 commissioners and not just maybe one, just for a more active voice from the city commission.
Any other discussion, questions? Not, we'll go ahead and vote. Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Mr. Oderman?
Aye.
Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mrs. Sobeluk?
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Our next item up, we have an award, a Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award, and Mr. Winningham. That's how it's listed here, but it's actually a city award, so.
So, Mr. President, Commissioners, it does say Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award, and what we intend to do is watch a video, and after that video, then as a city, the mayor is going to present his mayor's commendation, which during the initial award by the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award, we had, authorized by the city, an award given to Ms. Saylor, which was a coin. What we wanted to do is formalize that, publicly present that as a city commission from the city of Dickinson to also recognize and give this honor to this youth who has done a spectacular deed. So with that, I would like to ask that we watch the video and present the award after the video.
thank you for the invitation to recognize a true hero today, Annika Saylor.
You don't rise to the level of your expectation, you rise to the level of your training. And so somebody taught you how to do CPR, and you were willing to just take action. And that's what it takes, somebody willing to take action.
On Monday, April 19th, 17-year-old Annika Saylor exemplified the true meaning of what it means to be a good Samaritan. Her heroic acts saved the life of Richardson resident Dwayne Sattler. She performed CPR until she was able to get breath and a pulse, and then remained with Dwayne, keeping him as comfortable as possible, reassuring him everything would be all right and help was on the way. She helped paramedics put him in a stretcher and into the ambulance. Annika's bravery isn't something you see every day, especially in a teenager.
That all of this happened, I was actually on the phone with Annika for a lot of it. So I was able to see how she went from complete panic, almost going off the road and hitting a semi, into seeing the horrible accident and then going into like just action. She was crying, upset, and she got over to Dwayne and she just took over. She took over like she had done it many times before.
I would say is thank you very much. If there's more people like you, my job would be much, much easier.
On behalf of the North Dakota Highway Patrol and Colonel Brandon Solberg, I would like to present with the Colonel's Award for Excellence.
It took a tremendous amount of bravery and composure.
Knowing you, I have no doubt you did it, but I'm still unbelievably proud.
It is rare to have someone at your age, I mean, it shouldn't be, right? But it is rare to be able to say, I will go forward and do something that's probably life-threatening.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. And I'm sure the staffers, they've been members of the Richmond community for many years. I'm glad everything turned out the way it did.
What you did is one of the most bravest things.
Think back to the day when I found out what you had done, and that was probably the best day of my school year this year, and just being so proud knowing that something you learned in freshman CPR class in freshman PE was able to carry you through that emergency situation.
Rarely as a teacher do we get to see the fruits of our labor so early as a teacher. Your bravery and your student behavior are something that's not learned in isolation. Rather, I believe must be molded and modeled by your family.
Annika, we are deeply grateful for your heroic actions to assist Mr. Dwayne Sattler following the horrific automobile accident April 19th in the midst of heavy snowfall and poor visibility.
What a blessing to be here today to celebrate this with two families coming together under a tragedy, but then also be able to come back and to celebrate life and what's going on. On behalf of Bismarck State College and our foundation, I'd like to present to you today the Patrick and Mary Dick Scholarship for $2,000 for outstanding students in academic excellence so that you may pursue your nursing degree.
A lot of businesses want to also shower you with a lot of appreciation that you so deserve. Kim, Sean, and Dwayne Sattler from Richardson. We're a very special family, well-loved in your community.
Oh, hi. And the only reason I'm here today is because of the Annika. I have Annika and so many other people. But it's truly wonderful that you had the courage to stop. And even, not just the courage, but for the weather and stuff, the way you're doing. And the knowledge to perform CPR. So you either have a really good teacher or you're a good student or both. But anyway, there's 1,000 things I could say, but thank you.
Thank you for my friend Annika. He was so kind to me and always. And he was a good friend of ours, and so I love him so much, and Jeff, and me, my dad, and because I love her so much, and I'm her best friend. And so just thank you for my dad's life, and thank me in the car accident, and thank you, Elkin. You're the best woman I ever have of my life, and you always take care of me of my life, and thank you so much.
Annika, it's really overwhelming when I think of that day and how strong you were. It could have been a very bad outcome. Because of your bravery, we have a happy ending. And I have my husband, and Sean has his father. And I'm just in awe of you. You're just someone that really inspires me too, that how brave you were. And you're going to always be in our hearts. You're always going to have a special place in our hearts. And thank you so much.
Obviously, I don't have anything planned to say, but I just want to thank everyone for coming, everyone who made donations. It really means a lot to me, and it just means a lot that everyone took time out of their day to come here. And I want to thank you for coming along, because it really means a lot to me. And I really want to thank the Sadler family for coming. It really means a lot to see you here. So all I can say is thank you for coming.
Wherever your journey takes you in the years to come, you will always carry with you the knowledge and strength that your decisive and skillful actions on that fateful day saved a life and earned you the unwavering gratitude of Dwayne's family and friends. Congratulations on your selection as the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award recipient, and thank you for reaffirming what North Dakotans have long known, that a single act of courageous compassion can create a lifetime of gifts.
I was looking, I don't have my glasses on, so Annika, if you could come forward. I do see you. There you are. So what's really happening? Please stand here. You have to endure this because it's a special moment. But there's a couple of cool parts of this story. And I hope that most people have looked at the news articles that were written to tell sort of the details of what happened, of how that she essentially stumbled on this moment in time and took action and saw someone who was critically injured and found an airway and was able to do that when seconds matter. And more importantly, while she was in flip-flops. Okay, I don't know if everybody knows what that is, but she calls them sandals, but they were flip-flops, and it was winter. And so that's really more impressive, okay? To be able to find the courage to say, what should I do here? And act and go forward and find an airway of a person during the chaos of several multiple vehicles that were wrecked and take that action and save a life. And so although we are piggybacking in some sense off the Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award, I think that Ms. Julie has done a great job to show us the video so we can honor Annika properly. The other part of that, as you saw in the video, she didn't know this was going to happen. So she, well, I don't know if you knew everything, but her mom, who happens to work for the city, makes it even more special for us. So they had to lie to her, which I thought was pretty cool, to get her to a place to where she walked in surprised, because she thought she was going to see a cadaver, which I thought was even funnier. And that they were going to take family pictures afterwards. That's why she was dressed up. So that just shows what a great family you have, and I'm so thankful for what you've done to raise this young lady, because that could have been me. That could have been any one of us, not able to breathe. And so, without further ado, I'm going to hand this to Mayor Scott Decker, who will then present the mayor's commendation.
You know, in life, sometimes you're presented with a lot of opportunities, and sometimes they're not always the best. But you dealt with the situation. You dealt with that opportunity to save that man's life, and we are so proud of you as a city. We really are. And on behalf of the City of Dickinson, the Dickinson City Commission, we'd like to present you with a mayor's commendation, and this would put into permanent so everybody can see it. And she has received another coin, one that she can actually, any of you that have been in the military know what a challenge coin is, so you can present that challenge coin when you get older, probably at an establishment, and maybe somebody will have to buy you a drink down the road for what you have accomplished. But these coins are given out to only the very best of our community. So congratulations, thank you so much. I'm kind of jealous. I think I saw on that list, there's some Luke Combs tickets in there. So hopefully you get to enjoy yourself up there, and we're not in any kind of mandate coming up. So, but thank you, Mr. Winningham and city staff, for getting that award. Thank you, Dickinson CVB and Mrs. Obergewich, and the excellence award that you've come up with. It's a great thing for our community and for our county. I think a lot of other counties are looking at what you've done and seeing how recognizing the excellence in our citizens is something that needs to be brought out on a monthly basis. And the case for us right now, we're doing it on a quarterly basis, but I could see it maybe going a little bit more often, because we have a lot of people doing a lot of great things in this county. Sure, come on up.
Okay. Say a few words. Julie Obergewich, Stark County Spirit of Excellence Award. First of all, thank you, Mayor Decker, for also being on the awards team. We appreciate you and all the other mayors. It truly was an honor to award Annika with the most recent award. You know, we did a lot more for her, and quite honestly, it was because it was a youth. You know, a lot of kids nowadays seem to be going down, you know, paths that aren't always desirable, and we have a standout individual in our town. So we can shower her with as many things as we want to, but quite honestly, things don't matter in the end. It's a life that she saved. So it was my pleasure to give the award to Annika. So, but thank you so much for your support. And the next deadline is August 15th. And so if you know of anyone that you'd like to nominate, you can go to starkcountysheriffnd.com. Also, we have a Facebook page as well. And the video that you just saw earlier should be live on the Facebook as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next item up is the Town Square presentation, and Mr. Zach Mathern will be presenting.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Zach Mathern with JLG Architects. Today I have an update for you on the progress of the Dickinson Town Square design process and the potential for the project to move forward in the next phase of the project, which would be the bidding phase of the project. The intent of our talk with you today is to receive sign-off and approval of the construction documents phase. So what that includes is the actual construction drawings, which are being prepared and are ready to go out for bid, as well as an understanding of the budget estimate that we've prepared in relation to the design, which will carry forward into the bidding phase to receive actual true bids and an understanding of the true cost from contractors upon your approval. In general, I'm going to talk a little bit about the schedule, just so you're aware. Upon approval of the final construction documents phase for the project, as soon as next week, we would likely put the construction documents out for bid. They would be advertised for 3 weeks for potential contractors to learn about, the project, study the drawings, and prepare their bids. Assuming the approval moves forward and that schedule remains intact, the bid opening would likely be on September 1st. We would then review bids and likely have a recommendation or a probable low bidder or bidders for you to review at the first commission meeting in September. The goal of this process is to have a clear understanding of the project cost once you receive those bids, and to be able to proceed with construction this fall. The intent would be to start some levels of construction this fall, some underground work, potentially some concrete work, and starting the building construction. And then this will really be a conversation with the contractors as we kind of select them and understanding their abilities and timeline. But the idea is that construction could potentially continue through the winter, really move forward quickly in the spring, and have the project completed in the fall of 2022. I did provide a budget sheet for you at your desk, since it's a little hard to see all the numbers on screen. I'll kind of take a cursory review of the budget. This is our latest estimating of the project costs related to construction and soft costs, and also potential added or additional elements in the project that are desired by the design committee that we worked with on the project, which was the downtown task force. Generally, the total estimated construction cost, so this would be the hard construction, the money you're paying to contractors, would be about $3.59 million. There's about $500,000 in soft costs, which are items that you need related to town square, such as paying for design services and engineering services, furniture for the town square, some various technology items that the city may purchase directly, and testing and some items within construction time. And so the total estimated project cost at this time is $4,113,717. So $4.1 million essentially. This is about $114,000 increase from our prior phase estimate. So we have realized some increase in costs related primarily to the current market and availability of materials. So a slight increase from the phase a few months ago. And then beyond that, so that brings the estimate to slightly above, or $52,000 above the current approved budget of $4,061,000. There is, just so you're aware, there is flexibility within the soft costs. Those aren't all determined at this time. So if in fact the bids came in exactly on estimate, you could theoretically still make the project happen within the approved budget. It just might mean you don't have as much money to buy as many benches or something like that, or chairs. Then beyond the base budget, there are additional items that the downtown task force and through various conversations with project stakeholders, we've determined are desirable and important to the town square. And those we are considered alternates. So we will bid all of those items, but they're currently outside of the official approved budget. And so on bid day, you have the choice to add these or not add these to the project, depending, if bids come in low, you might have enough money to cover some of these items. If bids come in high, you would have to make the decision to not do these items or increase your budget to accommodate them.
Zach, we need to pause here because I'm sure the commission has some questions. We just have a 5 o'clock timetable, which is our public hearing and public comments section of the night. So we'll just have a pause, and I'll invite anyone from the public that has any comments to come forward. State your name and let us know your concerns. Also, if you are watching online and have any concerns, you can dial 701-456-7006 and join Commissioner Soboluk online if you have any concerns. So if you have any concerns, please come forward, state your name, and let the commission know your concerns. Anyone from the public have anything that is not on the agenda or any concerns the commission needs to know about?
This is not in relevance to this. My name is Benita,
Go to the mic, please.
and I know Mayor Decker and the rest of the commissioners. I want to bring it to your attention. I have a problem with a neighbor of mine. I have gone to the police department repeatedly. I've gone to Blaine Deckard about code enforcement. I have done everything. Steve Schwab owns the house. He's aware of the situation. I'm very concerned because there are children that are not taken care of and animals. I've reported it to social services. I have documentation for both CRE, for Steve Schwab and Olivia, and also photos that have gone to social services. What my concern is there is an individual, his name is Sam, and he has total and complete disregard for the law of the city of Dickinson and the law of North Dakota. He has an unlicensed vehicle. He's threatened my dog. My dog is a veteran service dog since I am a third generation veteran. I'm also a 10th generation North Dakotan, and I am very proud to be a North Dakotan. And he disregards everything, everything. The police came over because I seen a child that's 2 years old going down steps, and there was a swimming pool in the backyard. So I rushed to the backyard and was ready to perform CPR in case that 2-year-old child went in the pool. And then my dog protected the other child for going out in the street. So I beg your indulgence on this. I've taken enough time, but I appreciate everything that the city of Dickinson has done for me, and I know that it will be taken care of. When I told Steve and Olivia, they said, go to the commissioners. So I've gone up to the highest part in the city of Dickinson to get this taken care of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else have any concerns not on the agenda? Please come forward. Anyone else? Seeing no one else has any concerns not on our agenda, I will close the public hearing. We will go back to Mr. Mather.
Thank you, Mayor Decker. As I was saying, the base bid for the project has increased about $114,000, mostly related to fluctuations in the market, and we also have had a bit of a change in the play area of the project, where one of the dinosaur structures became unavailable to us to purchase, so we swapped it out with another, and we previously had some of the play area structures in the alternate list, and we've actually moved all that back into the project as base bid, just to simplify the process and ensure that you have an adequate fully functional play area from day one. So those are some of those decisions that were made with the downtown task force. Looking a little bit at the alternate list itself, some of the items that are on here include the synthetic ice rink. The plaza is planned to accommodate a synthetic ice rink and also a portable movie screen. Both of those items are not really being bid or part of the construction. They would be directly purchased to be installed by other or provided by other vendors. But we're keeping them on the list just so you'll understand the total cost if you're interested in moving forward with those items, or the DID is interested in moving forward with those items. The rest of the items on the list, those are part of the design and potential construction. You can see on the right, if the item has an A next to it, that means it's possible to accomplish that item at a later date if you want to phase certain items of the project. Items with the B indication are very complicated to add later or not very possible. So if they're very important to you and the DDA and the DID, we would recommend adding those things right away. Otherwise, it will be very challenging to add those in the future, and you may have to do some demolition of something in order to make them viable. So a few of those items are wood benches to add to the concrete benches throughout the site. Lithocrete concrete, which is a very expressive concrete that looks like landscape or the rocks within the region rather than just plain concrete. We have the option of providing a flagpole and lighting for the American flag. Integrated splash pad lighting. We'd have a splash pad associated with this project, and there would be an added cost to add lighting to that package. 4 pergolas. There are 3 shade pergolas that would be provided as base bid for the project, and then there could be 4 additional to provide shade and activity spaces. Off-site civil scope. This would be we have this kind of separated into 2 parts. One part would be to replace the sidewalk in the blocks surrounding Town Square, and another part would be to replace the alleyway associated with Town Square and City Hall. Those are things we kind of noticed during our design work, that they're deteriorating, and you probably want to address those, but they weren't originally in the scope of the project. We have designed those items and detailed them so they could be constructed from our construction documents. Add portable power for food trucks. That would be an extension into the street. So if you have a large event where you need more power for things happening in the street, that could accommodate that. A sound system in the pavilion. Gas heaters in a pavilion are 2 other alternates. And then the last one on the list is adding some unique character to the concrete on the floor of the project. So spreading rocks and fossils and little items throughout the concrete to make it more interesting than just plain concrete. So all of those items added together are just a little under $1 million. The actual alternate list actually came down partially because we moved something up into base bid, like I mentioned, the play area items, and then there was some cost fluctuation in those items actually in the downward motion. So the actual total of the alternates alone came down about $300,000. So if you chose to build the base bid project and all the alternates included and added, we have an estimate of $5,056,000. So that, if you include everything, including the alternates, the ultimate total came down about $200,000. Are there any questions on the budget of the project?
Thank you, Mr. Mathern. Any questions for Mr. Mathern on the Dickinson Town Square budget summary?
Just a final note, these aren't decisions that need to be,
Oh, 1 second.
Mrs. Sobeluk, go ahead.
Yes, so I do have just a clarifying question for today. We're here today to just vote on if we want to approve moving forward with the bids, right? Not the specific bid packages today. Because I know last time we had this discussion, we just kind of got off into different weeds and we weren't talking, we were kind of talking about things we weren't voting on. So I just wanted to clarify that in my head before we dive in too much further.
Commissioner Sobeluk, this is to move forward with us approving, issuing construction, issuing for bids for the construction documents for bids.
Okay, but we're not, so we're just sending it out to bid, and then when it comes back, that's when we would decide on, we would have the DDA help us decide on the options, or whoever we need to visit with. That would be at that September meeting that you mentioned earlier, Zach, correct?
That is correct.
that is correct.
Okay.
Just wanted to provide you an update on those numbers, but the actual decision will come when you get the true bids for those items.
So we will make the decision, Commissioner Sobeluk, in September on exactly what the final details, if any, once we get the bids back. Are there any other questions, comments?
Mr. President.
Mr. Oderman.
Zach, this may be just a clarifying question, but you said at the bid opening, that's when we would determine which alternates. So are we all going to be there for the bid opening?
Oh, can I clarify?
Yeah.
The bid opening is a public setting, so we will invite bidders to come and provide their bids. We won't make any decisions at the bid opening.
Okay.
Generally, we just collect the bids, read them aloud, but because there may be some questions or anomalies, we generally don't make any decisions at that meeting. We have to kind of go back to our office, plug in all the numbers in a spreadsheet. If we see any like anomalies, we'll call a contractor and ask them about, this seems odd, are you sure? And then by the goal is, so that would be September 1st. The goal is that by that Friday, we would have any of those clarifications made, and we would provide a tabulation of the bids to the commission on Friday the 3rd, and then we would intend to review those with you at the commission meeting on the 7th.
Yeah, and that's what I assumed, but you said those decisions would be made at the bid opening, so I just wanted to clarify. So thank you for the clarification.
President Decker?
Mr. Seroff.
If I may, one of the questions I have is what's your estimated completion date, I guess, for this project? And we're bidding out really late in the year, which sometimes brings higher bid costs. And then I guess also some of the equipment I know we've had difficulty getting with the way things are now. So I guess estimated or completion date, if you thought about when that would be.
We anticipate about a 12-month schedule. So depending on specifically when construction starts, it would essentially be towards the end of September of 2022. The exact date would be determined in coordination with the contractor to some extent. In relation to the bidding climate and the fact that we're towards the end of the fall, we've had some kind of casual conversations with local contractors and internally with our estimating group. There certainly is some risk that not a lot could happen this fall, especially with the procurement of materials. In general, though, the feedback we've been getting and our internal feedback is that By bidding it this fall, it gives you time to order materials and get them going, so that when spring comes, you are able to get in the ground right away. Whereas if you wait to bid the project till spring, that may put the procurement and length of time you're waiting for materials till mid to late summer. So your construction timeline is very challenging in that sense, and so it might go longer, which would start to likely incur more cost to the project.
It's difficult right now with getting procuring some things, so, no, thank you.
So generally, we feel like this gives at least some time to prep for when the heavy construction has to happen in the spring.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? Not, I would look for a motion to consider to approve construction documents to move forward for bid.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Walla. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none, we'll vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Mr. Oderman?
Aye.
Mrs. Sobeluk?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you.
Zach.
Next item up, we have a memorandum of understanding for the town square. City Administrator Winningham.
Mr. President, Commissioners, in previous meetings and work sessions, we've discussed a memorandum of understanding between the City of Dickinson and the Downtown Dickinson Association, which is part of the Downtown Dickinson Improvement District. That MOU, as discussed previously, provides, from the city's perspective, the intent for what the DDA would be required to do and what the City of Dickinson would be required to do. Additionally, it would also lay out briefly what the Dickinson Parks and Recs would be required to do for maintenance. And so this resolution is for authorization for the mayor to sign it, then for me to proceed and meet with DDA and with Parks and Rec to have them sign this MOU, so we have an agreement that is consistent with our current town square bid process, so that at least we have this in place as we go forward. This would be dated today, August 3rd, for the mayor to sign. There one change that I made throughout the process. This is, as we went back and forth with a couple of changes during the work session. You've seen this previously. Other than the dates that were changed, there's one item in here that was changed about what the City of Dickinson would do, and I'll just read it. That at the time, the town square, upon completion of successful private fundraising campaign of $2 million, or when the city has sufficient funding to begin. So in our previous budget discussions, we have talked about the city allocating or appropriating the money for the construction to begin. As money is received for the capital campaign, then we would receive that money as a repayment from the Dickinson Downtown Association. So I wanted to give the commission flexibility to be able to say we have sufficient money to begin construction. If there's any questions on that, I could ask or answer them right now.
Thank you, Mr. Winningham. Any questions for Mr. Winningham on this MOU? If there are no questions, I'd look for a motion on the MOU.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the MOU with the DDA.
Second.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Frederick, second by Commissioner Oderman. Any further questions or comments? This MOU also includes, besides the DDA, it the DID and Dickinson Park and Rec. So there are no further questions or comments. We'll go ahead and vote. Mr. Frederick?
Aye.
Mr. Oderman?
Aye.
Ms. Walla?
Aye.
Mrs. Sobeluk?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Mr. Winningham, you have a report?
Mr. President, Commissioners, I'm going to read a thank you note. During the city's process to provide subsidy grants to various programs, we awarded a grant to the Richardson Senior Center, and we received a thank you letter in return. And I'm just going to read it. Dear Rita and City of Dickinson and the grant committee, we are so excited about the generous grant that we received from the City of Dickinson. We surely never thought that we would get the whole amount for the work that we wanted to do. And we are so thankful for the generous support we received this year and last year towards the Richardson Senior Center. It is greatly appreciated. The improvements have been completed on the wall, and people are commenting how nice it looks. With sincere appreciation for your thoughtfulness, thank you so very much, Tom and Judy Roll and the Richardson community. There was much needed repairs that had to be done, and the committee awarded them that money for them to go forward to make the community better.
All right, thank you, Mr. Winningham. We have nothing else on the agenda this evening besides commission time. Commissioners, are there any items that weren't on the agenda or anything from within the community that you need to bring up this evening?
I just wanted to thank Chief Dossinger, Administrator Winningham, and Mayor Decker for coming to the Community Health Needs Assessment Community Meeting. I didn't invite everybody because I didn't want it to be a situation where we might get in trouble, but they had really great feedback. The community meeting is an opportunity for the Center for Rural Health out of University of North Dakota to kind of have some back and forth conversation with people in the community that deal with healthcare related issues. And Chief Dossinger, Mr. Winningham, and Mr. Decker all contributed in a really big way. So I appreciate your guys' contribution and making sure that the CHNA is a success again this year and going forward.
Glad to participate. So it was a great panel. Anyone else, commissioners? Seeing nothing, hearing nothing. Commissioner Sobeluk, we're good?
All good around here?
All right. Don't soak up too much, son.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.